Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to do the summary of the play, The Hairy Ape by Eugene O'Neill. I have already given you a plot overview. Today, we'll be doing the summary and analysis, and later on, we'll be doing a scene by scene analysis of the play. The firemen have gathered in the ship's forecastle, the crew's cramped quarters in the bow of the ship, on break from shoveling coal. The ocean liner has sailed an hour out of New York. The men are sitting around on their bunks, drinking beer, carrying on with each other, and singing in a clamorous uproar. Yank, broader, fiercer, more truculent, more powerful, more sure of himself than the rest, turns his attention to the mob and asks for a beer. When Yank speaks, the men are immediately quiet. They don't hesitate to hand him 2 drinks. Yank, satisfied, turns away, and the rowdy men cajole an older fireman, Paddy, to sing his whiskey song. Intoxicated, swaying and clutching his bunk, he wails, "Whiskey, oh Johnny," and is quickly joined by other men. Yank again turns his attention to the crowd and commands them to be quiet as he is trying to think. Think is actually a slang, American slang used by the blacks in America, and the men in unison repeat after him mockingly, "Think, not think." Above the men's noise, a tenor voice is heard singing about a girl, who fondly waits, making a home for me. Yank silences the tenor and fiercely tells him that the ship is his home, nowhere else. A drunken Long is the name of the character. The protagonist is Yank. Long is another character in the play. Jumps on a table in support of what Yank has said. But he adds to it, Long declares that the ship is home is hell, and the first class passengers, the capitalist class, is to blame. Yank stands and threatens to knock Long down, calling his ideas Salvation Army, socialist bull. He defiantly states that the firemen are superior to the first class passengers because they are physically stronger and they belong to the ship. Paddy, another character, emerges from his stupor and cries out, "We belong to this, you are saying. We make the ship go, you are saying. God have pity on us." Paddy persists in a lengthy and passionate speech detailing his former life on the sea. Yank gets up to fight with Paddy but controls himself. He tells Paddy to calm down, then that he is crazy and too old to understand. Excitedly, Yank suddenly cries out that he belongs to the ship and Paddy does not. Paddy is dead and he is alive. Yank declares that he is part of the engine. He moves, he breathes coal, dust, and he eats it up. Without Yank, without the engines, everything would stop. Like Long, Yank describes the bottom of the ship as hell, but it takes a man to work in hell. Yank equates himself with steel, the muscles and the punch behind it. You will see in the play, in the beginning, Yank is full of confidence. He has his own self-esteem. But by the end of the play, when Mildred makes fun of him and calls him a hairy ape and a beast, he loses this self-esteem and he has a sense of belonging with the ape, that is, with the hairy ape, and he tries to embrace the ape and finally dies in the process, as you will see at the end of the play. Going on to analyze it as a whole, though the plight and struggle of an ocean liner fireman, Eugene O'Neill, exposes the regression of civilized man to an animalistic state. The firemen are reduced to work animals, caged and abused. The ocean liner, that is, the ship, functions as a metaphor for the larger confinement and oppression of the blue-collar workers into a tight niche in the bottom of the society. The cage-like forecastle is representative or the cramped world, void of opportunity that the men exist in. O'Neill suggests that the men should resemble those pictures in which the appearance of Neanderthal men is guessed at. The tight quarters of the forecastle and low ceilings force men to stoop low, preventing the men from having normal upright posture. Only valued for their physical might, their ability to shovel coal into the ship's furnace. The men have abandoned the need for modern or complex thought and have regressed into a Neanderthal state, that is, ape, hairy ape, or the monkey man. O'Neill reinforces the fireman's Neanderthal state, the fireman's speech patterns. O'Neill carefully spells out the broken words and vocal patterns of the men to ensure that the actor will effectively use speech as another barrier and divide between the firemen and the higher class characters. With the exception of Paddy and Long, the men speak in short, simple phrases in broken English. Paddy and Long also have thick accent. I told you, the whole play is a bit difficult to understand for us Indian students. But once we get the feel of it and once we get used to reading the play, we can understand that it is the language used by the blacks, oppressed class, but express complex. Though through their dialogue in this scene, the dialogue between the firemen comes in waves of explanations. Give me drink here, you, oh, a wet, salute, God shit, skull, drink as a lord, God stiffen you, here's how, luck. So this much today for the summary and analysis of the play, an overall analysis of the play. In the next video, we will be doing a scene by scene analysis and summary. Till then, thank you.